सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावदिभ्या निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनः उरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावत् भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम् बाहुद्वन्द्वेन रत्नोज्ज्वलवलय भृता शोणपाणिप्रवाळेनोपाता वेणुनाळी प्रसृतनखमयूखाङ्गुली सङ्गशारा कृत्वा वक्त्रारविन्दे सुमधुरविकसद् रागमुद्भाव्य मानैः शब्दब्रह्मामृतैः त्वं शिशिरितभुवनैः सिञ्च मे कर्णवीथि.
Guru Pavanapure Hantabhagyam Jananam. Namaskaram to all the Astikas. We did begin with understanding the life history and the greatness of the poet of this work, the composer of this work called Nārayaṇīyam, the poet being Nārāyaṇa Bhaṭṭatiri, Menpattu Nārāyaṇa Bhaṭṭatiri. We understood that he learned the Vedas, the Vedangas, Mimamsa, Tarkashastram, Vyakaranam, Itihasam, Puranam, and he was extremely adept, so much so that the title Bhaṭṭatiri was given to him. So it was a very prestigious title. So Nārāyaṇa Bhaṭṭatiri was such an adept poet, a grammarian, and he speaks about his tutelage, his lineage, everything in his famed work called Prakriya Sarvasva. That said, I did begin saying that there was a contemporary, a great bhakta called as Poontanam. Poontanam had lost his child and he adopted Krishna of Guruvayur as his very child. It is said that he was enlightened to the core and all his awareness about dharma and philosophy, that outpouring came in the form of a beautiful work in the Malayalam language called Jnanapana. It is said it was the pot of essential knowledge, and it was also called the Bhagavad Gita of the South in the Malayalam language. He says in one of the compositions, I shall sing this in Malayalam. Kandu kandin irikkin janangane kandinno varuttunna tumbavan rendu nalu dinam kondoruttane tandileti nadattunna tumbavan മാലികമുകളിൽ ഏറിയ മന്നത്തിൽ തോളിൽ മാറാപ്പ് കാട്ടുന്ന തുമ്പവാൻ കൃഷ്ണ കൃഷ്ണ മുകുന്ദ ജനാർദ്ദന കൃഷ്ണ ഗോവിന്ദ നാരായണ ഹരേ. So, this composition called Poontanam, composition by Poontanam called Jnanapana was so beautiful. It was customary for poets in those days that after they write a work, they present it to someone of high caliber, get it reviewed, and then get their feedback, comments. And one such great poet, Poontanam, who had written the composition in Malayalam language, revered and respected, was Nārāyaṇa Bhaṭṭatiri. Was Nārāyaṇa Bhaṭṭatiri that great a poet? I'll just give you a sample from one of his works. Of course, we are discussing one such work called Nārayaneeyam. He had written 30 such works, Shripada Saptatihi, Guruvayupuresha Stotram, Goshri Nagaravarnanam, Mata Mahisha Prashastihi, Shailadhishwara Prashastihi, Sutta Shlokaha, Ashvalayana Kriya Kramaha, Prakriya Sarvasvam, Dhatu Kavyam, Paniniya Pramanya Sadharam, Manameyodaya Manaparichedaha, Tantravartika Nibandhanam, Rajasuya Prabandhaha, Dutavakyam, Panchali Swayamvaraha, Nārāyaṇī Charitam, Sunda Upasunda Upakhyanam, Subhadraharanam, Kaunteyashtakam, Kiratam, Kailasa Varnanam, Matsyavataraha, Nriga Mokshaha, Nir Anunasikam, Athava, Surpanakha Pralapaha, Rakshasotpattihi, Ahalya Mokshaha, Balakandam, Dakshayajnaha, Swaha Sudhakaram, Koti Viraha. These are the works, the compilation of the names of the works that he had composed. In this set of works, there is an interesting composition. All of this is in Sanskrita. There is a composition called Nir Anunasikam or Surpanakha Pralapam. Pralapa is a soliloquy where you keep cribbing. What was that soliloquy? What was that melancholic soliloquy by Surpanakha? It was an incident in the Ramayana where Surpanakha comes and proposes to Rama. Rama rejects. He directs towards Lakshmana. Lakshmana rejects. Surpanakha spots Sita, goes about attacking Sita to protect his revered mother-like sister-in-law. Lakshmana takes the arrow, holds Surpanakha and chops off her nose. This is the incident. Of course, there has been a lot of debate whether Lakshmana should have done this or not done that. That's not the topic of our discussion now. Lakshmana was responsible for the cutting of the nose. Probably in English we say, when someone is humiliated, there is a nose cut. Literally, there was a nose cut. So the nose was cut. When the nose was cut, Surpanakha started bleeding profusely. She couldn't tolerate the pain and the humiliation. Her love was rejected. She goes to her half-brothers Khara, Dushana and Trishiras, three of them who were stationed in a close-by region of Janasthana. She goes and complains, see, look at you. This is what Valmiki states in the Ramayana. Surpanakha, with her nose cut, bleeding profusely, goes and complains to Kharadushana. She says, Tarunau Rupa Sampannau Sukumarau Mahabalau Pundarika Vishalakshau Chira Krishna Jinambarau. Two men, extremely beautiful, very handsome, powerful, have done this. Now, this is what Valmiki states. We have been telling time and again. But there is a problem here. Every language will have a certain set of letters and associated pronunciation which comes from the nose. Let's take, I want to tell the word nose. I have to deploy my nose. Nose, I say. Every language for that matter. Endana peru. In Malayalam they will ask, Endana peru. What is your name? Endana na. That comes from the nose. Every language will have that. It may have between 10% to 50%. But there is a section of nose, nasal sound that is involved. But her nose is cut. How will she speak with nasal twang? There's no concept of speaking that way. Even if she speaks, she can't utter those letters because there is no nasal sound. Her nose is cut. Bhaṭṭatiri solves this problem with his poetic prowess. He says she lost her nose. So she gives a soliloquy, pralapam, to her brothers, where he has composed 6 shlokas. None of these shlokas deploy letters coming from the nose. I will read out one verse. Ha ha rakshasa raja dushparibhava grastasya dekte bhuja vidyojjikva vipatti reva sukara kshudra pratapatvaya dvasta patra papashya pashya sakalais chakshurбhireta drishi jata kasya chideva tapasa shisho shastra tavaiva swasa. I didn't use my nose. Another shloka. Shrotavyo tatvatasthav yadi tatha kathaye satayor gatra shobha drishta chet pushpachapada pasaratirati pushkarakshadati shrihi bhuyaschalehi jai karaja dalita daityashva shaksha sashauri Vishwaploshi sa rudra pyatiti susaha iva prastute tat pratape. So I didn't deploy my nose. So Bhaṭṭatiri was a prolific poet in Sanskrit. So Poontanam, who had written Jnanapana in Malayalam, thought, if at all my book has to be reviewed, it should come from the caliber of Bhaṭṭatiri. He went to Bhaṭṭatiri and gave the manuscript and said, sir, I've written in Malayalam. Please review it. Bhaṭṭatiri rolled that manuscript and said, no, take it back. I speak Sanskrit. I compose works in Sanskrit. I'm sorry, I don't review works in regional Bharatiya languages like Malayalam. I may live in Kerala, but I don't review Malayalam works. I will review only Sanskritam works. Was Bhaṭṭatiri's stern reply. On the other hand, Poontanam was extremely upset that my work is not reviewed. What a rebuke I've got. He started shedding tears. On the other hand, that very night, Bhaṭṭatiri had a dream. The dream was Krishna of Guruvayur appeared and said, hey Bhaṭṭatiri, you did not review his work. Trust me, more than your vibhakti, I like his bhakti. Bhakti in Poontanam impresses me more than your vibhakti. You know what does vibhakti mean? At one level, it means there is no bhakti. Vina bhakti is vibhakti. There is no bhakti. The other concept is vibhakti is a declensions in Sanskritam. Ramaha, Ramau, Ramaha. Ramam, Ramau, Raman. Ramena, Ramabhyam, Ramaihi. Ramaya, Ramabhyam, Ramebhya. Ramasya, Ramayoho, Ramana. So we say of Rama, by Rama, for Rama, two Ramas, many Ramas. All this is called vibhakti. Prathama vibhakti, dvitiya vibhakti, tritiya vibhakti, chaturthi, panchami, shashti, saptami, sambodhan. This is how we say in Sanskritam. So Bhaṭṭatiri's concentration was on language. Sanskritam is superior. Vibhakti is superior. Grammar is superior. But Bhagavan said, more than your vibhakti, more than your knowledge in grammar, bhakti is important. I like Poontanam's bhakti. That very morning after having seen that dream, Bhaṭṭatiri ran towards the house of Poontanam, prostrated at his feet and said, give me that work of yours. I've committed a grave mistake by hurting a devotee of your film. Poontanam's work called Jnanapana was given to Bhaṭṭatiri. Bhaṭṭatiri reviewed that work and said, this is the Bhagavad Gita of the Malayalam language. So much so was the greatness attached to the Jnanapana of Poontanam. On the other hand, Bhaṭṭatiri, through Krishna's grace and Poontanam's association, became a very humble human being. Around the same time, Bhaṭṭatiri's one of the gurus called as Achyuta Pisharoti. I did speak about Achyuta. I told you, remember Achyuta. This Achyuta Pisharoti is said to have developed a rare form of high intensity rheumatoid arthritis. So every joint in his body will bear 1,000 pains. Every joint. So it was high intensity rheumatoid arthritis. Achyuta Pisharoti started suffering. That is when, as an ardent disciple, as a Sishya, Nārāyaṇa Bhaṭṭatiri approaches Achyuta Pisharoti and said, I can't see my guru suffer like this. Is there a way where I can take the pain? And through due consultations with various astrologers and purohitas and people who were adept in yajna, yaga, there was a particular yagam performed by Nārāyaṇa Bhaṭṭatiri where he could invoke the grace of paramatma and say, transfer that pain of my guru to me. For the sake of my guru, I am ready to take that pain. So this rheumatoid arthritis, after the yajna was over, slowly in a week's time started receding in Achyuta Pisharoti, and on the other hand, for Nārāyaṇa Bhaṭṭatiri, the pain started increasing. Now, like how Achyuta Pisharoti, the guru suffered when he had high-intensity rheumatoid arthritis, the Sishya Nārāyaṇa Bhaṭṭatiri started suffering. He couldn't take the pain. Nobody was ready to take the pain from him. If at all somebody has to cure, it is Dhyayo Nārāyaṇa Sada, Nārāyaṇa had to cure. So that is when Bhaṭṭatiri asked his students to rush him to a place where we may be thinking emergency room, surgeon's room, hospital, consultant, but to a special place. We'll see where the place is in the next episode.
कल्याणरूपाय कलौ जनानां कल्याणदात्रे करुणासुधाब्दे कंवादिदिव्यायुधसत्कराय वातालयाधीश नमो नमस्ते। नारायण 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 नारायण